You know those people who, in the middle of absolute chaos, just seem totally unfazed? It's easy to think, wow, they must have been born that way. But what if I told you that's not it at all? What if that calm exterior is actually a skill? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the hidden traits of truly calm people. So let's just get right to it. The big question. Is calmness just, a genetic lottery? Something you either have or you don't? It's what most of us believe, right? But the actual psychology behind it tells a completely different story. And honestly, it's a much more hopeful one. And this is the whole key. Psychology tells us that people who seem to be always calm aren't just coasting. Their brain is actively using a set of hidden skills, skills most of us just never learned. And you know the best part about skills? They can be developed. All right, so first things first, we have to tear down this whole myth of natural calm. This idea that it's just a personality type is exactly what stops people from even trying to develop it themselves. So let's redefine what being calm really is. Now, this is so important to understand. Calm people are not robots. They feel anger, they feel stress, they feel anxiety, just like everybody else. The difference is, they don't let that first wave of emotion dictate their reaction. Their calmness isn't an absence of feeling, it's a mastery over their response. It's all about control, not emptiness. So this brings us to the playbook. If being calm is a skill, then what are the actual mental moves these people are making? Think of these next few traits as the secret strategies that separate a mind that just reacts from a mind that stays in control. Okay, so the first play is something called high cognitive delay. I know, it sounds super technical, but it's a really simple and really powerful idea. When something stressful happens, their brain just naturally creates this tiny gap between the feeling and the reaction. You can think of it like a mental pause button. In a world that is constantly demanding instant replies and reactions, this skill is basically a superpower. That tiny pause, that's where the magic happens. It's where you choose a smart response instead of just an emotional one. Next up is a classic, but it's a classic for a reason, having an internal locus of control. This is a core belief system. People with this trait genuinely believe that they are the ones steering the ship of their own lives. They just don't see themselves as victims of their circumstances, and that fundamentally changes how they approach every single problem. Here's the perfect way to think about it. Imagine you're in a traffic jam. You can't control the traffic, right? But you can control your breathing, the music you're listening to, your own attitude. Calm people just instinctively pour all their energy into the things they can actually influence, their own actions, and they learn to let go of the rest. This one little shift prevents them from spiraling into frustration. And that leads to another huge difference, their thinking style. See, most of us operate on fast thinking. It's that instant, emotional gut reaction. But calm people, they deliberately switch gears into deep thinking. They slow down, they analyze, they look at a situation from different angles before they decide what to do. It's a conscious choice, really. One path leads to spiraling out, the other leads to control. So, how do they do that in the heat of the moment? They use this incredible technique called cognitive reappraisal. They literally relabel their stress. It's a simple three-step process. First, they identify what's actually causing the stress. Then, and this is the key, they reframe it. Instead of thinking, this is a disaster, they consciously switch it to, okay, this is a challenge. That simple change in language instantly lowers the fear and keeps their logical brain in charge. And the playbook just keeps going. Calm people have really strong emotional boundaries, meaning they can be there for you without absorbing all of your stress like a sponge. They also have what's called low ego reactivity. So when someone criticizes them, they see it as data, not a personal attack. Then there's high self-efficacy. This is a deep, quiet confidence that whatever happens, they'll be able to handle it. That belief alone just dissolves so much anxiety. And finally, they keep their minds uncluttered. They're focused on right here, right now, not worrying about the past or the future. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is all just a mindset thing, but here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just in their heads. There's a biological component too. Their bodies are literally wired a bit differently, often because they've practiced these mental habits for so long. So here's their biological edge. First, their nervous system just physically resets faster. After something stressful happens, their body's rest and digest system kicks in super quickly, bringing their heart rate back to normal in just minutes. For other people, that feeling of being on edge can last for hours. And second, their bodies literally release less of the stress hormone cortisol when they're under pressure,
which stops them from ever going into that full-blown fight or flight panic mode. So, we've gone through the mental playbook and the biology behind it, but this isn't just about collecting interesting facts. This is a roadmap. The most important part of all of this is figuring out how we can take this knowledge and turn it into real, tangible action.
So, what can you actually start doing like today? It really boils down to these three things. First, practice the pause. The very next time you feel that surge of anger or anxiety, just force yourself to wait 1 second. Just one. Second, ask yourself, what part of this can I actually control? And then pour all of your energy into that and only that. And third, start reframing your stress. Catch yourself thinking, this is a disaster, and consciously change the script to, this is an interesting problem to solve.
I want to leave you with this final thought because it really says it all. The peace you see in calm people, it's not a gift. It's not a personality type they were lucky enough to be born with. It is a trained strength, built through practice, one mental pause at a time. So the real question isn't whether you were born calm. It's whether you're willing to start training for it.